You are watching the North Florida All-Star Classic Draft Show. I'm BP, alongside my expert analyst, Scott Cooper, and the man behind all of this All-Star Classic, Mr. Marcus Dixon from Reps on Reps Hoops. Good evening, Marcus and Scott. Glad to have Scott with us, always doing some great work. But Marcus, welcome to the broadcast. And so we're going to do a quick wrap-up of the high school season. So now everything has come to a close and championships have been awarded. Scott, we've been busy this year with high school basketball.
No, it's been a fun season. A lot of Jacksonville, North Florida, Northeast Florida teams were able to represent, the area down in Lakeland. Didn't come away with what we wanted to, but I tell you what, we had a lot of good teams, a lot of great coaches, great players that represented us really well down in Lakeland.
There was a wealth of talent. You and I actually got to saw a little bit of it during the 1A through 3A week of the tournament. We were both there watching Andrew Jackson in the semifinals take on the Villages Charter, and there was a lot of good basketball played throughout the year. So here's some history for you, just from the SSB side of things. This is not necessarily the whole of Northeast Florida, but 32 games that we had on our lenses this year, 23 different teams that we encountered throughout the season. Of those 23 teams, 13 of them made the playoffs. 11 of them were district champions. 4 of the 5 that were from Northeast Florida we covered, and they were all number 1 seeds. The only one that we missed was Tecoy Creek. So we got a lot of really good basketball this season from in this area and outside of the area. We saw the likes of Atlantic, the Sharks from Port Orange. They were a district champ this year. Auburndale, the Bloodhounds, also district champions this year. We got to see Fletcher for the first time in a really good district tournament finish against Oakleaf. This is crazy.
5.7 on the clock.
This is it. 3-ball. No good. And the Fletcher Senators are going to win. The Fletcher Senators are going to win the district.
Oh, the place is going crazy.
The Fletcher Senators have just upset Oakleaf.
Crazy.
And the students have stormed the court.
What a win. I mean, what a gritty win.
We also saw Andrew Jackson tear up competition this year, going all the way, and probably the loudest game that we had in their regional final against FSU High School. Boy, they really put it on the Seminoles in that game. There's some really good opponents. The Andrew Jackson Tigers are going to punch their ticket to the state semifinals. They have won Region 1. And then watching our teams go down to Lakeland for semifinals. So just kind of a recap from what you guys have seen this year. Talk about some highlights. Scott, I'll start with you since you've had some direct experience to it. Give me some highlights from this season.
I tell you what, we saw a lot of games that came down to the wire. We saw a lot of games that relied on missed free throws. A lot of games that the Leon Fleming Island game, for example, was a big upset in the area. So we got to see, another team from Tallahassee. But, we saw so many games that, like I talked about during the season, was a lot of mental toughness that these kids had to show. It was a lot more, ton of basketball talent, but those teams with mental toughness really took it to the next step.
Absolutely. Marcus, you've seen a lot of basketball too and post a lot on social media. What were some highlights that you had seen?
Oh man, just as an organization, we see so many basketball games from the boys and the girls side. To the point that's kind of overload right now. I can't even pinpoint a game, but I just know we enjoyed seeing several teams like Andrew Jackson on the boys' side, the girls' side, Bowles, Providence, some of those powerhouses that we have in the city. It's been a joy to watch. Seeing the journey for each player, each team has been a joy for us. So we just try to do better and go out as many games as possible and show the love that we can. So super grateful for this year, all the coaches that allowed us to come in their space. The players, the connections that we made, we're super grateful for that.
Absolutely. Well, I can't get out of my head the back-to-back tournament matchups between Fleming Island and Jackson this year, once at the Fortegra and then a week later at the Battle of the Island, coming down to three-point shooting at the end and such an exciting finish. One of the most watched games that we had at that part of the year was Andrew Jackson and Fleming Island, and what a game that turned out to be. But how about Ponte Vedra going triple overtime in the state semifinals?
Yeah.
I mean, that game just did not want to end, and it finally did. But my goodness gracious, talk about a marathon.
Nobody wanted to score.
No.
I mean, I think it was 0-0 in one overtime, and it's just, to me, I mean, that's crazy. And that's another thing. A lot of winning the state championships comes down to luck. Somebody needs a little luck. You talk about it. It's the same with NFL playoffs, all these, a fumble here, are there. It comes down to a little luck. One missed shot, one turnover. Jackson coming down to Jahari's last shot.
Yeah.
That goes in. It's a different story. So it's such a little room for error when it comes down to those games.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
This season was also very exciting for me because of a lot of the fan energy that took place. We got to see a lot of really good student sections this year, just a lot of love for their fellow athletes, and just the support that they get from the girls teams as well. You see a lot of that mutual respect for both sides of it. And the cool thing about this All-Star Classic is that we're going to get to see athletes from as young as middle school all the way to high school, both boys and girls. And Marcus, I want to have you talk a little bit about the history behind this. So this is your 4th year.
Yes, sir.
Right. And what got you guys motivated to put on this All-Star Classic, and how has it grown in the past couple of years?
Our first year, we were just trying to get in on the scene, trying to figure out how can we make a generational impact in the community. And one of our mentors, Michael Ross, Toby Frazier, they actually started the All-Star Game years ago. And Coach Ross came to us, me and my partner Nick, and was like, hey guys, I want you guys to take it over, take it to new heights. I know you guys can. So shout out to Coach Ross for giving us that opportunity. But we've just been trying to grow every year. I think that's the goal really, is to continue to grow, continue to make it a first-class event for all athletes from middle school to high school, girls and boys. So it's been growing. I'm super excited to see the product. So you guys see the product that we have for Saturday. It's going to be enjoyable for all ages, so please come on out and support the athletes.
Yeah, and I tell you that, I can talk, as wear a bunch of different hats. As a father, as a coach, what you guys do for the community, for these kids, that it shows them, it gets them in front of the crowd.
Yes,
it gets them.
yeah.
It could get them in front of a college coach. The articles that they write, the things that they do. So as a dad and coach, I really appreciate what you guys do for these kids.
Great to hear. I appreciate that. Like you said, like having a college environment on a court is going to be like an NBA environment Saturday, and most kids don't get that opportunity. So I want them to be happy and have a good time. That's really the goal. It's going to be competitive, but we still want these kids to have fun, families to watch their kids for the last time in Jacksonville. So I'm just grateful to have this opportunity.
Sunshine State Broadcasting, your community broadcaster. Subscribe, like, share, and comment on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X.
BP alongside Scott Cooper, and now we're joined by Coach Byron Shemwell from Andrew Jackson, also one of our all-star coaches coming into the weekend. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Appreciate it. How y'all doing?
Doing good, Coach.
Always good to see y'all.
Absolutely. Well, we didn't have the whole crew down there in Lakeland, but we saw y'all go down there, and what a heck of a run this season, man, to go all the way down, and a real successful year. Your first year as the head coach at Jackson, and just reflect on the season a little bit and give us some high points.
The season was good, man, from beginning to end. When you got guys that come in every day and work hard, it makes your job much easier. And with my coaching staff, their dedication as well. The 28-3. I can be honest. I can say at the beginning of the season, I definitely didn't think we'd be 28-3. But as we continue to play games, I was like, oh man, this could be a really special group. And fell up 2 points short at the Final Four. But we learned from that, and I think it'll carry us on for years to come to be able to get the state championship.
Nice. And then,
Coach,
go ahead, Scott.
No, we got to do a few Jackson games this year, and one thing that we took away from it was you were the same person. Up 20, down, winning, losing, whatever it was, you were just cool.
Yeah.
You just did your thing. You coached them, and your team, your players did that. And I think, props to you for getting them to buy in with that. Like I talked all the season. I was like, a lot of these teams have talent, but the mental part is where get you to 28-3, get you to Lakeland, and they really fed off your coaching style and what you did. I mean, what do you do? Do you talk to them about that, or do they just feel it as the season goes?
No, a lot of it comes through in practice. We talk about the mental a lot. Staying focused, staying calm, not being too high, not being too low. And I try to challenge myself as well to make sure I'm not too high, not too low, because I know energy reflects. So if I can always give out positive energy, I always felt that they'll be good. Yeah. And in the midst of the season and the games we were playing, once they showed me how poised they really were, I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah, no, you're right. You did a great job with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're big on player development, too. You do a lot of that outside of the high school area. Talk a little bit about that and how much working at the Classic means to you and what your outreach is.
Well, the outreach is making better players better people. You know what I'm saying? As far as development of the game, I tell kids all the time, you got to be consistent with your work. So if you're consistent with your work going to show. If you're not consistent with your work, it's going to be hard for your work to show. So we always just try to make sure when we training or working out at the school, we teach consistency and making sure that you're always about your work.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. Doesn't matter who you are. You know, he treats them all the same. He's had my son in the gym and does great work. So, you know, I can attest to that. Coach Shemwell is a bright light in our area for the future of basketball, so I appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had an absolute blast doing games on Main Street this year. Y'all are the loudest gym we have ever been in all season long, with not just the crowd, but with the band, and then we had a DJ, the regional final. There was so much going on in there. Talk about how much the alumni support means to you and your boys.
We like the 20% that support us. You know what I'm saying? I preach that 20% all the time because that's pretty much what it been. You know, the other 80%, they'll show up whether they want to see us lose or see us win. That's their business. But the alumni support we do have, we appreciate it. You know, we take it with stride, and we just hope they keep coming out to watch us.
Yeah, we ask the kids, you know, they're passing the torch on to other kids in North Florida area. Who are some young kids that not necessarily on Jackson, but just in the community that you're looking to keep an eye on, you know, as to carry the torch of Northeast Florida area?
Man, honestly, I haven't got out to see much middle school. You know, I see a little bit here and there, but I know it's some younger kids out there that's gonna do some great things for us. We're probably just waiting on them to get to high school to see it.
Right. What about in the high school level across the city?
Who's your next man up?
For us?
No,
for anybody.
Just for anybody. There's a few guys I like. I like the, you know, of course my kids at Jackson. You know, the Terrells, the Justins, the Wrens, the Jacobys, guys like that who's coming up next.
Right.
But Impact, I like Ronald. I like Langston Hawkworth at Nice. I like him. Your son's going to be really good, I think. You know, he definitely got the size. You know what I mean? So, who else we got out there? It's a lot of good 2026s and 2027s out there. They hard to think of, but just to say a few, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that talent we got to see showcased on SSB. So just the sampling that we've gotten of it, there's a lot of good that's still coming up that we have yet to see. So I think you're right. 26 and 27 are going to be a couple of really solid years.
28 probably going to be good too.
28. 28.
Well, and you look back, and we mentioned this earlier, of the 23 teams that we had individually on our cameras, 13 of them made playoff runs. And that's not all inclusive of you know, just North Florida, but when you really look at it, 13 teams from North Florida, and that's from Port Orange on northward, all made playoff runs this year. That's a lot of quality basketball when you think about it. And 4 number 1 seeds of the 5 that were from North Florida, or just teams we got to watch. I mean, talk about that Tecoy Creek team for a second. Their first 4 years in existence, and they were the only team from the state of Florida that sent both their girls and boys to a state Final Four this year.
That's impressive.
I mean, talk about making some noise there. So there's a lot of good going on that we have yet to see.
They got to feel good.
Absolutely.
Like
even with the results.
You got to feel good.
Yeah, even get knocked out in the semis. You know, just the fact that you brought both of your teams to the state finals is a huge deal.
And I only seen that twice with my eyes.
Yeah, that's.
Ponte Vedra did it last year too, when they sent both of theirs, and then Tecoy this year. That's why
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, some great basketball just coming out of that part of Florida too.
Sunshine State Broadcasting, your community broadcaster. Subscribe, like, share, and comment on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X.
For Scott Cooper, for Byron Shemwell, our producer, Courtney Wallace, Garrette Bindford on the camera, for Marcus Dixon from Reps on Reps and his partner, Nick. What a great night we've had here at the Ale House on Beaches and Hodges. Subscribe and watch live to our YouTube channel. So long, everyone.
Sunshine State Broadcasting, your community broadcaster. Subscribe, like, share, and comment on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X.